Please, Mr. President, stop campaigning every day. Sit down and govern. Justice does not care what your tribe is.
Or your rank.
Your rank, how you look like. Justice is justice. You know what the Bible says? Let justice roll on like a river. Honestly, it's a big joke.
The church is a big joke?
The churches we have today, the so-called bishops, archbishops, whatever their names are, majority of these people are businessmen. They are not just like preaching the gospel.
Businessmen in white robes?
They are preaching the gospel, but their whole idea is to make money.
Truly delighted to have you on Richard Mwenja, exclusive here on Herman Manyora's YouTube channel. Indeed, this is the first week of February, the year of our Lord 2024. It's such an honor and a privilege to have you on board. On this particular day, we're going to discuss a lot of issues in the world of politics and governance. And we have one senior citizen of Kenya, based in Ohio State in America, who has joined us today, so that we also have his perspective and thoughts on how better we can govern this country and also take it to a notch higher. I'm talking about none other than the author of the book that is Kenya the Beloved, none other than Job Ombati Simeon. He's also a man who's tried his hand in elective politics in Kenya, and he has so much to discuss with you and share nuggets of wisdom on how better we can turn around our governance issues. Job Ombati, welcome on board.
Thank you, sir.
Karibu sana.
Thank you for giving me a chance.
Finally, umerudi nyumbani.
Yeah, nyumbani ni nyumbani.
Nyumbani ni nyumbani.
Yeah, we have to be home.
How did the customs office at JKA handle you?
You want to start that one?
All right, we'll get to there, to that particular point in our business show.
Yes.
But then again, welcome on board. Pleasure to have you here.
Thank you very much.
Very well. How are people back in diaspora from a general perspective?
Be very good so far. Kenyans are hustling, you know, whether they are in the United States or whether they are in Canada, in Australia, in Germany, even in European countries.
True.
Arab countries, Kenyans are working hard. They are struggling to keep this country going.
To keep this country going.
They keep this country going.
And thanks to your diaspora remittances, we are where we are because of you and many others.
Believe me, they lifted this country up.
All right, true.
Yeah.
Before we actually get into the deep end and the deep dive of our conversation for the day, maybe just let's have a small brief about maybe who is Job Ombati, probably what lessons have you had along the way for you to become a senior citizen and also someone who is very enthusiastic about governance issues. So who is Job Ombati, by the way?
First of all, let me say that I'm thankful to be here.
Sure.
Job Ombati Simeon is not your usual politician. By the time I was 23, I was already in politics. In 1992, when they repealed the Section 2A, I was in Kamkunji with Akina Orengo, Gitobi Manyara, Muringe, and all those people. We were there fighting the Kanu regime. In 1992, actually, I was elected the youth leader of Ford in Laikipia.
Nice.
When they had delegations going to Nyeri, I went there representing Ford youth in Laikipia. I was there with Masinde Muliro, Charamogi Odinga, Waruru Kanja, Martin Matiba, Shikuku, and all those. We were at Ruringo Stadium. I was seated there, 23 years old, as a delegate of Ford.
A young man with big dreams.
I wanted to be president, and I was 23. So when Matiba split Ford into Ford Kenya and Ford Asili, Mwai Kibaki formed the DP. I went to Mwai Kibaki's office. It was somewhere in Karen. I met Mr. Nyamweya there, Secretary General. I became a DP Life member. I supported DP. I went back to Laikipia. I was campaigning for a gentleman called Charles Mukora actually even came to my day party and all that. We campaigned in Laikipia. Charles Mukora became Member of Parliament. Now moving forward, the year 2017, I also went to my constituency in Bobasi. I wanted to run in Bobasi as MP. I also have a home in Kitale. So when I looked at Bobasi constituency and Kitale, I saw the people of Kitale needed more help than the people of Bobasi. So I went to Kitale. I went to run there because I was not born there, never went to school there, but that's my home. I went to run for MCA. Even my friend Kibruto Kiro was running for Senate by then. I ran over there, things didn't work on my favor. I lost. So when you lose, you know you support those who win.
True.
That's what I did. And then 2020 came, and then things fell apart, the whole world. I stopped the politics. That's where my politics ended. I don't want to run for any political office ever. But that does not mean I'm not politically inclined. Yeah, that's my story.
You still feel you have a greater purpose to play before your time comes.
Absolutely. We don't have to be politicians to make impact in our society.
Very well. Now that off the way, Bwana Job Ombati, let's get to one of the elements we're going to discuss today on this particular show. And let's begin from the corridors of justice, and that has to do with the back-to-back attack on Kenya's judiciary. We are at a time whereby the president is forcing his way to make sure that his agenda, personal agenda that was in manifesto, sees the day of light. Much as maybe the electorate is not at peace with some of his agenda, or they haven't given him the green light. Case in point, the housing agenda and all that. The courts have ruled that this is unconstitutional. The president says he'll go ahead and do it. And not just on the housing levy, but many, many other things. We are seeing the government force its way and actually ignoring the voice of the judiciary. From where you sit as a senior citizen, what could be the danger lying ahead should we see increased attack on the judiciary and ignorance of the voice of the judiciary?
First of all, who do we say we are? We are a democracy.
Sure.
We say we are a country governed by the rule of law. That's the first thing.
True.
Second, President Ruto is a doctor. He's educated. He knows better. He knows that this country runs on the Constitution. And he knows very well that for a country to be respected, we must rule under the Constitution. True. We have to follow.
Absolutely.
So if you are the president and the judiciary says something, you are a citizen number one. You are supposed to follow the rule. You are supposed to obey court orders so that everybody else can do the same. If you are the president and you don't follow the court order, what will the common people do? Look, when Kenyatta was president, Justice Maraga said, you have to go back to re-election because of what happened.
Yeah, it was null and void.
Yes. President Kenyatta said publicly, I don't like this decision. Hata kawaida wakora. Akasema hao ni wakora. But Kenyatta is wise. He said, I don't like the idea, I don't like their ruling, but I will follow them. I will follow the law. That is how leaders should rule. When the Supreme Court says something, you as the president, of course, you may disagree with them, but you have to follow what the Supreme Court has said. That is how the rest of the world will look at you and say that your country runs under the law.
True.
Because you follow the law. But if you say, I'm not going to listen to the Constitution or to the Supreme Court, I'm not going to do what they say. So then tell me, under what rule do you rule? Do you govern under what rule? If you don't follow the law. You have to follow the law. You have to respect judiciary because these three arms of government are separate entities. So I expect the president, whether it's Dr. Ruto or anybody, to follow the constitution. Because if you don't follow, even your friends outside there will say this man is president, but does not respect this country's constitution. He doesn't follow the law.
True.
So how will they respect you?
From where you sit, Job Ombati, are you signaling that maybe we are seeing a dictator in the making if this is anything to go by?
The only two people I know who don't respect the law are either dictators or they are some kind of monarchy because they are themselves the law.
Semi-gods.
Yeah. But if you are not a dictator, you are not a monarchy, then you are a president. And the presidents follow the law.
They follow the law.
So President Ruto might disagree with the judiciary. That is okay. It's very okay to disagree, but they follow the law.
Moving on swiftly into another aspect of this conversation, and you're talking about even from the onset, why do people get into elective politics? You've been there, you've tried your hand in elective politics, and I would wish to understand what was the fire within your belly that propelled you to seek that particular bid then, much as you never clinched it. But let me ask you, is it oftentimes informed by a need, a desire for primitive acquisition of wealth? Why do you think we are experiencing a situation whereby many people want to get into elective politics in Kenya? And when they get it, little impact is felt on the ground.
Let me tell you, Richard, Kenya has so many problems. So many issues we need to solve. But the biggest problem is that we have many politicians and very few leaders. When you have so many politicians, like the ones we have in Kenya, everyone is a politician. When you have so many politicians, they try to outdo each other. And leaders are supposed to lead, but they are very few. Almost everybody is a politician. Politics should not be a gateway to enrich people. Politics is supposed to be a system of governance whereby we bring issues of our people to a debating corner, which is our parliament. We make policies which benefit the country. Politicians should speak and think beyond themselves. They should think about the country. You know, all of us, we love our country. We all love this country. And every one of us can be president. So, we should make rules, policies, conditions, which are good for us now and good for our children and their children's. So, we do not think about now. Politicians in Kenya, my friend, I don't want to be in politics. Politicians in Kenya, most of them, not all of them, but the majority of them, they are there to gain money, wealth, power, and have a bunch of wealth outside here and outside the country, marry so many women, and just go around getting praises. And that is politics of this country.
Prestige and all.
You get even a nominated member of parliament as a big vehicle. When he's driving on the way, people clapping for him, move off the way, let me pass because I'm a politician.
I'm a bigger citizen.
You know, this is nonsense. Politicians should focus on how do we make our country better than we found it.
And let me ask you, how then can we fast enough get to that point whereby they have that change of mindset and a Damascus moment that henceforth they'll now be serving the people other than serving themselves?
The good thing is the Kenyan youth, the young Kenyan people, they see. You know, the Kenyan youth are not tribalistic. Kenyan youth, everywhere I go, they think like Kenyans. They are not tribalistic. They are knowledgeable. Many of our youth are educated. They see what these politicians are doing. So, if we can get these young people, you know, look at somebody like Johnson Sakaja.
True.
Look at Sifuna.
Edwin Sifuna.
Yeah, Mutula Kilonzo. Yeah, we have very good leaders who are there, who are going to run this country forward. If the mind is, I want to be a politician. I want to bring electricity to my constituency. I want to bring water to my people. I want to build schools. If this is the mindset of these people, it's a good thing. But how to achieve that also is important. Because we don't have to corrupt our way to steal national resources in order to do that. We have to have a plan. We have, like governors have. You see somebody like Governor Simbarati, for example, is trying to do the best they can in his county, but is being fought around and about.
True.
We have leaders who want to do something good, but because of this funny stuff called politicians, they crooked their way out, they steal the money, so there are no resources to do these things. But I see hope because our young Kenyan, they don't reason like the whole people.
Very well.
They are reasoning much better.
With forethought and thoroughness.
They think about the country as a whole. They are not thinking like I'm coming from this community or this. Kenyan youth are thinking broader. And that's what makes me happy.
Let's shift gears a bit and advance the conversation still on matters corruption. And we actually seen the public service sort of become the bedrock of graft in this country, and it has actually sort of maligned the name of Kenya in the global corruption index.
Absolutely.
And let me ask you this. Is it that we need to make corruption so expensive in Kenya that even the politicians themselves and other state officers wouldn't dare to do that? And how do we make it so expensive for anyone to try be corrupt?
The first thing, there must be a goodwill. I have seen even when President Kenyatta was here, they talk a lot. They talk and said, oh, government officials are going to have a small car, maybe one car. One day, they say one thing. The next day, they change.
Double standards.
It doesn't make sense. We need a leader who can say what they say and they mean what they mean. You don't say something and you do something different. Corruption can be tackled if there is a seriousness from the head. If the president starts showing example how to fight corruption, from the president to the deputy, then we go all the way to judiciary, we go to
the local chief.
There is this part called security. If we can deal with that, from the traffic police to the chief, from immigration all the way to hospitals, if we can get the heads thinking together and start tackling this problem, then it will trickle down. But if we start from the local village, it won't go anywhere. It has to start from the top.
Collective effort, but has to start from the top and trickle down.
What is the point? If I go to the chief, for example, I say, Mr. whatever, chief, this is what I need. And then the chief says, oh, you know, you need to give me 200 or 500 or for me to do something. Then you don't like that, you go to the police to say, I went to the chief, and the chief is asking for a bribe. If the police themselves, they are asking for the bribe, so who's going to help you? But if it comes from the top, if the commissioner of the police says we cannot tolerate this, if you bring a case, we will prosecute it. If it go to the judge and they prosecute it, then everybody now will be afraid. Because corruption is cancer. Corruption is a deadly disease. It's across the society. It wastes a lot of money, a lot of resources, a lot of time. Corruption is terrible, my friend.
It is terrible.
It's terrible. Yeah.
So part of strengthening our fight against corruption is making sure that we no longer see the case of justice goes to the highest bidder. Once someone is corrupt, they are prosecuted and they end up in the prison.
You know, the funny thing is, I have a master's degree in justice studies.
Oh, nice.
Justice is blind. Justice does not care what your tribe is.
Or your rank.
Your rank, how you look like. Justice is justice. You know what the Bible says? Let justice roll on like a river. Justice is a very good thing to have. But if you don't have justice, corruption comes in, tribalism comes in, injustice comes in, oppression comes in, The poor people are oppressed. Everybody is oppressed because of injustice.
Very well. Now, looking at an avenue whereby we can tame down the injustices in the society and every form of discrimination, there is a role civil society can play. And in there, we are seeing the church has the power to spearhead much needed reforms in a country and in a state. From both the economic side of it to the political and governance side of it and even social setup. Let me ask you, during your time growing up as that vibrant youth back in 1992, I'm sure you are used to vibrant voices like Ndingi Mwana wa Zenki, Bishop Gitari, Alexander Muge. These are people who called out the messes that were there in President Moi's government and even his predecessor's government. But looking at the church of today, are you convinced, and even the civil society, that they are doing enough, they are raising their voice well enough to spearhead Kenya to be the Singapore of Africa?
Richard, I was laughing because when you talk about the churches, I feel like, honestly, it's a big joke.
The church is a big joke?
The churches we have today, the so-called bishops, archbishops, whatever their names are, majority of these people are businessmen. They are not just like preaching the gospel.
Businessmen in white robes?
They are preaching the gospel, but their whole idea is to make money. Those people you have mentioned, Alexander Muge, Ndindi Mwananzeki, the whole man who could say to President Moi on his face, no, this is wrong. Reverend Gitari, those who are the men of God.
Or Timothy Njoya and all.
Timothy Njoya. Those are the people who were preaching the gospel because they did not care whether you are a politician, a president, or whatever. They were like Elijah of the Bible. Elijah would tell King Ahab, you are corrupt. King Ahab wanted to kill him. He had to hide. Those were the time when men will speak the truth. Sasa niambie, siku hizi, our reference and archbishops and all those so-called men of God, tell me what business they have. When they are in the church, they invite politicians to come to church. Politicians come to church, and then they come with a bag of money. They give them this money. Politicians stand in the pulpit. They start abusing each other. Huyu anatukana mingine, huyu kitandawili, huyu Sakayo, huyu nanani.
Huyu ni mganga.
Wanatukanana kwa kanisa. And then the next day, another politician go to another church, he answers this one. So they keep on trading words in the pulpit, in the church. Now wazee wanakaa hapo, reference, wanapiga makofi. This reference will tell this politician this way. When you come to church, come here to worship. Jesus Christ said, my house should be called a house of prayer, not a house of politics. It's not a house to bring money. If we have to do a rambe, we are going to do a rambe outside the building. So we come here, we worship God. If we have to do any harambe, we walk out outside the building, then we can donate our money out there.
True.
But in the church, we should keep it for worship.
Place of love, worship, and unity.
Yes. If politicians want to socialize with people, they can do it outside. Lakini if biashara ya kufanya politics in the church, you know, another thing, another place we don't like to see politicians do politics is in the funeral. Imagine disrespectful. Somebody has died. Politicians come, every Tom and Dick, every one of them. Hata kama MCA, everybody akiwa mwanasiasa anakuja kwa matanga, badala ya kuongea about the deceased person, they start talking politics. Everybody is standing there saying, oh, I built this school, I gave money for this, I did this, elect me. Imagine in the funeral. Let me tell you, Richard. People in the diaspora know this very well.
Sure. Tell us.
I have been in the US for so long. I was there when George Bush died. I was there when Mrs. Bush died. I was there when John Lewis died. I was there when John McCain died. I was there for so many of them have died. And I've seen every time politicians come to funerals like that, you can see Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, Michelle Obama, you can see who is who coming to that funeral. They sit quietly, they don't talk. You can be surprised, check it. You can Google, you can check the pictures.
Utmost humility.
They come to the funeral to give last respect to the deceased. They don't come there to abuse each other. They come there to give respect. One person may be given a chance to speak, but the rest of them, they just came there to give respect and go. And that's the way it should be. The person who has passed away, we should come and talk about this person. True. The good things this person did, how he helped us, how he made our society better, how he was related to us. We should talk about the deceased because this is the last respect. We should not go to a funeral and start talking politics. It is disrespectful.
Very well.
So the church and in the funerals, they should not be a political ground.
Rightly put there, sir. And now, talking matters, even that change starting from the top. And let's look at the case of President Ruto. Oftentimes you've said, and you've shared with me this before, that his statements are inconsistent. And there is need for him to avoid trying to be a master of all trades, a jack of all trades, yet a master of none, and that there is need for him to consult more and be willing to listen to his seniors and people who've been there back in time so that he can govern well. Do you really stand with that thought that the president needs to consult more and listen more?
Let me tell President Ruto very clearly. Dr. Ruto, you are the president of this country. I am speaking on behalf of the diaspora, and so many of them agree with me. When you were vice president, you were campaigning. The time came for campaigning, you campaigned, and you became president. You are the president of the Republic of Kenya. Whether we love you or we don't, you are the president. Whether we voted for you or not, you are the president. So, people of the diaspora want to tell you 4 things. 1, please, Mr. President, stop campaigning every day. Sit down and govern. You have traveled the world for the whole year. People know you are the president. You have done very well. It is time now for you to settle down and govern. You cannot govern when you are traveling everywhere. Remember, President Dr. Magufuli of Tanzania, when he became president, he never traveled. He said, I am not a minister of foreign affairs. I'm a president of Tanzania, and therefore I'm working for the Tanzanian people. Remember, even our own Kibaki, you can see how many trips Mwai Kibaki made. Mwai Kibaki never used to make so many trips. Mwai Kibaki never used to talk too many things. He sat down in the office, he governed, and the economy was perfect. Employment, you can tell, you were there, you know. So, it is time for you to settle and govern. That's the first thing. The second thing that the diaspora people want you to do is to find credible, knowledgeable, trustworthy Kenyan to work with you. Kenyans are very educated, very capable in so many ways, and they are all over the world. Please, Mr. President, pick those Kenyans who can tell you the truth, not just to say yes, sir, yes, sir. You need people who can tell you the truth. Look, somebody like Miguna is very rough, but he will tell you the truth. People like Patrick Lumumba, they will tell you the truth. Get these people. Just because somebody is in the opposition does not mean his opinion is wrong. Talk to Sifuna. He has very good ideas. Talk to Dr. Kibwana. Kivuto Kibwana, the former governor of Machakos.
Kivuta Kibwana.
Yeah, talk to them. Talk to these brilliant Kenyans. Put them together and say, my friends, we are all Kenyans. This is our country. What do you think I can do? They will give you ideas. Seek people like Francis Orekabaru, Professor Ongeri. Look at people like Toby Manyara. Talk to people who have been in the government before. Talk to these people and say, come here, let's talk. Talk to Baba. Sio kutengeneza serikali ya nusu mkate. Baba is willing to give you advice. Call brother Kenyatta and talk, Mr. Kenyatta, you were here before. We are building this country together. How can I do this? Talk to them. Let me give you an example, Dr. Ruto. When Moi was president, when things went like downwards, President Moi, he formed something he called a dream team. You remember that? A dream team which was headed by Dr. Richard Leakey. There was some other Kenyans who came in, like there's this guy from Western, I don't remember his name. He was there. SM Macharia was there. SK Macharia was there. He made a dream team. He said, our economy is not good. Help me. And these people helped him to raise up the economy. So, Mr. President, you can also do that. You can call other Kenyans who have ideas. Tell them, I'm making a dream team. I want you to help me. Number 3, Mr. President, can you please help the Kenyan people get their IDs, get their passports, make it easy for Kenyans to get passports and IDs. And when Kenyans are abroad, when they want to come back to Kenya, make it easy, Mr. President. Make it easy for them to travel. You know, Richard,
Sure.
I'm a Kenyan. I
Sure.
have a Kenyan passport. When I was coming the other day, I went to immigration. They asked me to show them my passport, and I gave them. And you know what they asked me again?
Tell us.
Electronic travel authorization, which is a visa. I'm a Kenyan. I'm coming home. Mina naulizwa visa. Can you imagine? You pay money to come to your house. Lastly, Mr. President, mean what you say. When you say your words, Mr. President, mean what you say. Presidents don't speak just for the sake of speaking. When you say something, mean it. Because people in Europe, people in America, people in Canada, people all over the world, they listen. President of Kenya has said everybody can come to Kenya visa-free.
Visa-free.
When they heard this, people from Jamaica, people from South America, they wanted to come. Many of them, they want to come because there's no visa now. But then they get information that, oh, you have to pay for electronic travel authorization. In other words, it's a visa in a different name.
True.
What is that? If you say there is a visa, say there is a visa, and this is the website for the visa, and you pay for it, then people know that. If there is no visa, there's no visa. Don't say one thing, and then you do another thing. I know a lady from Kenya. She wanted to come. She went to the website to get a visa, the so-called electronic thing. She went to the website, she see Kenya, whatever, she started filling the information. That lady, I can show you. She paid $129 to get that electronic thing. Did she get it? She did not. Because that was a wrong website. There is a website, if you can Google, anybody just check it. You can go to the website, you will find more than one place where you can get electronic authorization.
An entire failed system.
So this lady went there, she paid $129. How much is $129? $129 is more than
Close to 20,000.
20,000. You pay $20,000 to get the electronic visa, and she never got it. She did not get it. And then she had to go to another website where she applied, and then she got the electronic visa where she paid $34. Please, Mr. President, talk to your Minister of Foreign Affairs, Immigration. Let's make this harmonious thing. Let's make one website where everybody go, like eCitizen. You go there, you get information about
Government
traveling to Kenya, what you need to do. And those visas, if they have to be there, they have to come within the time allocated. Somebody should not pay a ticket, go to the airport, and get turned back because under your electronic visa.
Well, asante sana. That point by Job Ombati. Simeon takes us to the wrap of this conversation. He is the author of the book that is Kenya the Beloved. By the way, let them know where they can get the book from.
Amazon.com, wherever books are sold, or even you can download it on your phone.
Very well.
Kenya the Beloved.
Asante.
Kenya kipenzi changu.
Asante sana. We do hope that you will tap into his nuggets of wisdom, and we also invite many other Kenyans who are based in the diaspora to come and grace many of our editions to come. All you need to do is reach out to me through my social media handles at Mwenje Richard across all my social media handles. Asante sana, Job, for coming through.
Thank you very much.
Whether you will tap to his knowledge, it remains to be seen, but we do hope that you'll listen. Until next time on Richard Mwenje Exclusive, it's always an honor to have you on board.